Welcome back to the workbench. Today I'm taking a look at this. The Airfix 1/72 scale Junkers Ju87b-1 Stuka. Join me as I take a look inside the box and find out what's included. Hi, I'm Matt and you're watching Model Minutes. Before I start the video, a quick shout out to my patrons. Massive thank you to you for all the support you give me. To find out what patronage means and the perks that you get, take a look at the link in the description. So today's video is the 1/72 scale Junkers Ju87b Stuka from Airfix. And on the front of the box we've got a very dramatic scene of the Stuka dive bombing. It's dropped its bombs, it's firing on the enemy target, it's got air support from a Bf-109, it's being attacked by a Hurricane. There's a lot going on here and that catches the eye. The Airfix box has got the sort of standard 2010 sort of red branding around the side. And just over here on this side it shows that there are two different decal options included in the box. Flipping over to the other side, all we've got is a little code down here, there's nothing on the back. This edge of the box features multilingual safety information, as well as contact addresses and other bits of information you might need, in particular the fact that this is not suitable for those aged 8 years or younger. On this side of the box we've got information about the actual Junkers Ju87 and some dimensions as well. Here we've got the two different decal option schemes. One is for a Luftwaffe aircraft in 1940 and one is for an Italian one in 1938. Over here we've got a list of Humbrol paint colours that you might require to complete each one. It tells us that it's a skill level 2, so it's not going to be the easiest kit in the world, but it shouldn't be too hard. And then the ever standard Airfix flying hour, which if you cut out and keep, you could redeem against more kits in the Airfix club. The edges of the box feature the same image as on the front. So let's get inside and find out what's included. As is normal, I'm going to take a look at the instructions first. A very familiar format from Airfix is presented to you in these instructions. You've got multilingual information about the actual Stuka. Down the bottom you've got some safety information, and then if we turn over onto the first page of this A4 booklet you'll get more multilingual information, as well as a key to the different symbols you will encounter throughout the build. And as Airfix have been doing in more of their instructions recently, they are generally black and white, but they do pick out different parts in different colours. So for example, this hasn't been painted orange, this just means that this was previously assembled in that step. There are some bits throughout here which are going to have a little bit of colour on them, such as down here they want you to paint what looks like the extra ammunition magazines 53, so they've actually made it a darker shade. So starting off, it tells us that if you want to include a display stand, you've got to make some holes here. The display stand is not included, you will need to get that separately. In stage 2 it tells you that if you want to, you can install the pilot figure, so it's always nice to have a pilot figure in these models. Progressing on down, you can see we get into stage 6 and we haven't even closed up the aircraft yet, so that tells me there's a little bit of detail to put inside the cockpit. And there's a decal here which needs to go on it. We're continuing the assembly of the aircraft. We've got some clear parts here which need to be installed before you close everything up. The machine guns come as separate parts in the wings. The wings are added to the fuselage assembly, and then the bottom parts, and you have the choice whether you install extra bombs, which you will need to drill holes for.Moving on to the tail surfaces. Then we're moving on to the engine parts, which seems to be, there's no internal engine represented, so if you wanted to take the cowling off and depict it in some other way, you can't really. You have to have the cowling on, but it builds up in a number of steps. Moving on to the wheels, so you get a choice here. You can install the wheel one way up and it's as if the aircraft is in flight, or the other way up and it's as if it's on the ground with a flattened sort of bulge. I think that's quite a good idea. Unfortunately you wouldn't be able to do that on a lot of Airfix kits because they haven't got this landing gear cover that would hide the fact that there was a bulge on the inside. And moving on, we start to finish the landing gear. still going. Adding the landing gear to the aircraft, adding the control surfaces and the dive brakes. Constructing the bombs, which come in a number of pieces. And then we're finally getting down, I think we're nearly at the end. Nope, not quite. Installing the bombs on the bottom of the aircraft. Here we are, last page of assembly. Small components, adding the pilots. More things going inside the cockpit, so we haven't actually finished the cockpit until we get right to the end. And then you can add the cockpit canopy and you can position it open or closed. The propeller assembly occurs here. And then finally, at stage 48, you have more or less completed your model. So skill level 2, 48 steps. Compared to the skill level 1 kits, which usually only have about 10 or so steps, 48 is a bit of a jump. They could have compressed some of them down, but I think that would be overcomplicating things. So, painting and decal placement. As has been normal from Airfix for a little while now, they do tend to produce these in colour, which is really handy because it helps clear up any confusion that you might have. They also recommend Humble paints because they fall under the same Hornby Hobbies family, and you can see here specifically which ones they request. The first one is for a Stuka of the Luftwaffe, based in France in August 1940, and it's got the sort of sky blue undercolour and the nice straight edges of a splinter camouflage there. Flipping over the page, we've got a very similar camouflage pattern, so they're not too different from each other. There are some small differences, in particular the white tips of the wings and the tail, but this aircraft is from the Legion Condor in Spain in 1938, and I'm actually tempted more to do this one because it's a little bit more different, it's a little bit more interesting to me. But obviously let me know in the comments below which version you'd like to see me build, if you would indeed like me to build this one. So those are the instructions. Let's take a look at the decals. Decals seem to be up to the normal standard from Airfix. At the top here we've got the common ones, which are for the aircraft in general. They feature various warning labels on the aircraft and cockpit control panels there, which seems to be really well printed. For the German version, we've got some of the crosses and the registry codes and the nose art as well, and that seems to be really well printed. And then moving on to the Italian version, that seems to be really well printed as well, and I particularly like the pink pig there. I think that's quite cool. I can't see any issues with these, and I guess all that remains to be seen is how well they actually go onto the model. The bit that we've all been waiting for, the actual plastic parts of the kit. Let's get inside this bag and find out what we get. It says not being able to open the bag. So in one plastic bag you get 1, 2, 3, 4 grey sprues and a clear sprue in its own little bag. So let's get that one out as well. So let's take a look at this clear sprue first. As can be expected from these more recently tooled kits from Airfix, this is up to really good quality. I can't seem to see any unnecessary flash or cracks or blemishes. This seems to be really well moulded. The canopy frames are really well represented too, and they're quite raised, so that would be really easy to paint. And here you can see that you get the options of depicting it open or closed. It's really nice. Let's take a look at the grey plastic parts now. So these are some of the engine components, some of the cowlings there, and also the prop and spinner assembly. And I can't really see any flash on here. It looks to be really well moulded. Details are raised and recessed as appropriate. This sprue contains the top parts of the wings as well as other small details such as the wheels. Panel lines are all recessed there. They're not the deepest ones I've seen from Airfix, but they're also not the shallowest either, so they're sort of in between, so they'll be quite good for brush painting. There is a little bit of flash on a few of these parts here, especially the wheels. I think those are the wheels. Taking a look at the fuselage now. Again, recessed and raised details as appropriate. Not much flash, but there is a little bit of flash in a few places that will need cutting off or sanding away, but generally it looks to be quite well done. Let's take a look at the pilot and gunner, because as you know, that I do have a bit of a thing for figures, make sure that they're up to a good standard. And they look alright actually. I mean, the arms come separately so you can pose them to a certain extent, but generally the pilot figures look okay. They don't look like the best ones I've seen from the recent Airfix toolings, but they actually look alright, so it's not too bad. And the final sprue. Lots of little bits and pieces on this one. Landing gear struts, small details, bombs and drop tanks, the seats. I like that the seat has got moulded on. I like that the seat has got moulded on seat belts. I'll show you that. That's pretty cool. And then the undersides of the wings, again, similarly detailed to the other parts. And that's it. So, to summarise, 1, 2, 3, 4 grey plastic sprues and 1 clear one. Let's see if I can get it back in the bag without breaking it. And that one in there as well. A nice set of decals and 48 steps in a reasonably well detailed instruction sheet, all of which comes contained in a nicely illustrated box. So this kit retails for between £10 and £15 in the UK, and I believe I paid something like £11 for it. So that's a reasonable price in my opinion for this kit. I'm generally looking quite forward to this. I did build the old Stuka that Airfix manufactured many years ago, but this looks absolutely leagues ahead of that one. So yeah, it should be a pretty fun build. Let me know in the comments what you think of this kit, and if you'd like to see me build it. In particular, let me know which version you'd like me to do, but I'm leaning more towards your Legion Condor. And I'm also eager to hear any other suggestions you might have for kits or videos you'd like to see on my channel, so feel free to post that too. All that's left to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the workbench again next time.